Hey everyone, it's Schmuckles. Today we're going to talk about the fact that Scott Cawthon, the creator of Five Nights at Freddy's, has actually addressed the Dead by Daylight Five Nights at Freddy's collaboration. People have been wanting this collaboration for years, and Scott actually clarified what his thoughts are on that. A little bit of context for the Five Nights at Freddy's 10-year anniversary. There's a lot of things happening at the beginning of August this month. And on August 4th, Daco actually released an interview with Scott. This is actually kind of like a part 2 interview, which is following up from his first interview with Scott, which was about 6 years ago. And Daco straight up asks Scott Cawthon about the Dead by Daylight and Fortnite collaborations that people want to see with Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm gonna link the full interview in the description below. Here's that soundbite for what he said about Dead by Daylight.
It seems that you've been more open with collaborations with games recently, the Funko one as well. Are you more open to more collabs since we last spoke during the last interview? Like, would you be interested in whatever it is, I don't know, like Fortnite or Dead by Daylight? Have those popped into your head at all? Or
I'm very careful with collaborations because I want to protect the brand and I want to make sure that Five Nights at Freddy's stays as Five Nights at Freddy's. And there are some games where even if I really enjoy the game, it just doesn't feel like a good match. It feels like a mismatch. The brand integrity is the most important thing for me, and keeping everything feeling like it belongs. And so that's really been my only hesitancy. I feel like I am branching out a little bit, and I am a little bit more open to those things than maybe I was in the early years, but I'm still very careful about it. We'll just see. We'll see how things go.
okay.
So what I'm hearing here is Scott really does want to protect the brand of Five Nights at Freddy's, and he doesn't want to introduce it into third-party games that would change people's visions of his franchise. Like if Five Nights at Freddy's were to join Fortnite or Dead by Daylight, some people would be experiencing the Five Nights at Freddy's for the first time when playing that licensed content in the third-party game. Everyone knows that the lore, the mystery, and the storyline surrounding Five Nights at Freddy's is one of the most hyped parts of the franchise. So my take on this is likely Scott doesn't want to introduce Five Nights at Freddy's into Dead by Daylight because you'd have situations where you'd have Springtrap chasing other characters from other franchises, and you'd be seeing Springtrap doing some out-of-pocket stuff that doesn't necessarily line up with the storyline with Springtrap or any of the characters from FNAF. The way that Scott's IP is represented in other games and the way that people actually see it in other games is very important to Scott. We know that it took Blumhouse about 10 years to get the script finished for the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and this is because Scott kept throwing out ideas that he didn't like. He's very particular with the style of things and how the characters are represented to the world. So in the interview, when he said it feels like a mismatch, it just feels like he might not like the idea of his IP being tossed into the mix into Dead by Daylight. Of course, money talks, things can change, and who knows, if Behavior Interactive were to approach him with the proper plan to show that they're honoring the lore of Five Nights at Freddy's, maybe Scott would change his mind about that in the future. Like I said, the guy is very particular about even the developers that he works with. So would Scott ever want to work with Behavior Interactive? Behavior would definitely have to honor the license and prove to Scott that they're going to respect his vision for the franchise. And it seems like Scott would only want to license the IP into a third-party game if it's carrying out the overall vision of the franchise. He spoke about what he looks for in a development team, and I think this actually is relevant in the sense of would he want to work with Behavior in the future.
What has it been like working with Steel Wool? Were you nervous about it? Because I know it's a big thing to, you know, give a company your baby basically and let them, you know, do what you've been doing for the past 5 years. How was it for the first time letting someone else work on FNAF?
I was really nervous about it. I was really nervous. You know, I went several years still doing it by myself, even after I had the financial ability to pay other people. Again, I wasn't in that mentality of being able to do that. So even though I could have done that, I was still doing things just all by myself, all the way through Pizzeria Simulator.
Yeah.
But by then it was I knew that it was getting too much for me. I knew that I had to find another partner for it, and I was scared of that because, you know, there are stories all over the internet available about just games that went completely wrong because of games being mismanaged in the hands of, you know, development companies. And I'm sure that all of their pitches on the surface would have sounded the same, but I really got lucky. For that reason, I really feel like I got lucky, because whereas I probably could have accidentally ended up with a company that did botch something, I didn't. I think I really honestly believe that I landed with the best, just one of the best development companies. They've been just a pleasure to work with, and they've done a really great job. like this last one they did, Ruin, I thought it was just so much fun.
The secret Five Nights at Freddy's collaboration will be announced tomorrow, and actually that's going to be on August 5th. So who knows, maybe at the time of you watching this video, that's already been announced. People are speculating either Fortnite or Dead by Daylight for that. Someone said this on Twitter, and this caught my eye. I'm seeing this for the first time right now. Someone said it's not DBD, but I can confirm from insider sources and people that there are currently talks between Behavior and Scott about adding Springtrap to DBD. So we may see him in about a year or two based on how long it takes for them to develop a paragraph. If my source is correct, talks only started somewhat recently, within the past couple of weeks. It's why I said it's still very early and for people to not get their hopes up yet, since Behavior has had talks in the past and it didn't result in anything. If it'll help prove my claims a bit, the collaboration tomorrow to be revealed is something that people have already thought of. It's going to be far more than just music though. I'm sure people are going to enjoy it, me personally not as much, as it's a game I don't play anymore. So that's very much an unconfirmed rumor that's floating around out there right now. We'll have a much better idea if that's credible once the collaboration is announced tomorrow, and I'll definitely post follow-up videos about the entire situation. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. Do you think this actually is a nail in the coffin for Five Nights at Freddy's ever coming into Dead by Daylight? Do you think Scott could change his mind in the future? To me, it seems apparent that both of these companies, Scott and Behavior, have probably communicated in the past, and it seems more likely on Scott's end for the collaboration to happen. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you want to follow the situation. That does it for this video. Goodbye.